Welcome to Ladies in Law, where real-world advice meets professional wisdom and empowerment in realms of law and business. Your hosts, Lisa Goucher, Dawn Smith, and Kellye Raymond, bring you innovative strategies, practical guidance, and inspirational stories. Join us as we inspire and support women to thrive in traditionally male-dominated fields. We're here to promote inclusivity and provide practical advice for success. Hi, Lisa here, and I just have to announce out of the box, I have known Megain Comanche. I don't even know how many years, Megain, we've known each other. I kind of feel like we've grown up together
over 20.
too. Yes, over 20 years. So Megain is here, and she is an incredibly inspiring woman with everything that she has done. She's got an amazing stick-to-itness to her, and she's going to talk more about that because I want to hear all about her journey, and I want her to share it with you and others out there. And then also, I cannot forget my wonderful lady-in-law partner, Dawn, is here as well.
Yay!
So, all right, Megain, would you please share a little bit about yourself so that those listening can get up to speed on everything, Megain?
Of course. Hello, everybody, all the great listeners out there for Ladies in Law. My name is Megain Comanche, and I am what I would like to call a seasoned veteran of the legal industry. That's how I would probably describe myself. Initially, I knew that I wanted to go to law school at a very, very early age. I wanted to be an attorney at an early age, but I didn't know what type of journey that would allow me to get there. So I started off with humble beginnings as a paralegal. I did that for about 15 years.
We love our paralegals.
Yes, because they are the brains behind. They're the wheels of the bus. That's how I describe paralegals. They're the wheels of the bus when it comes to the attorneys. So I did paralegal work for 15 years, and then I decided, okay, it's time for me to go to law school. Then I went to law school, and then now I am a lawyer.
Good for you. That's awesome.
Within that journey, it was not always something that was pretty, but I will say that it's well worth it. Yeah.
And so in that journey and the challenges that you had, what components do you attribute to your ability to keep pushing forward? Like even when you're hitting a wall, Megain, what pulled you and pushed you forward?
I really would have to say my personal drive, what I really wanted. The end result, I always wanted to be a part of the legal community. Don't get me wrong, being a paralegal is the best. It really is the best because you have the best of both worlds. You can touch pretty much every circle of litigation. You know everything. You have connections with judges, attorneys, other paralegals, experts, jury consultants, clients. You literally are able to go from A to Z. I knew early on that I wanted it to be a little bit further. So I would say the one thing would have been my drive. I knew what the end result was. So I knew that eventually I wanted to be a lawyer. So that's what I would say that was like the one component that kept me going. Even when stuff got really tough, I knew that. And when I say stuff got really tough, let me just give an example. With me taking the LSAT and me not getting the proper scores that I wanted to get into law school, I could have given up then and just said, okay, being a paralegal is fantastic. Do I really want to go to law school? But I knew that would be a restlessness inside of me to say, okay, no, you really want to go to law school. So it was just my drive and what the end result was, which was to be a lawyer. So that's what be.
Along those lines, though, how did you do that on a daily basis? Because to say you have drive, that a lot of us have drive, right? But how strong is that drive? How does that keep you getting up and going forward when something goes wrong?
Well, that could be many things. I'll give you an example of something that I would say was a drive. And this may sound really, really bad, but it's not. When you are tasked with doing so much work and doing more work than the attorney, but you're not getting paid for that, that's a drive. Or when you feel like you know more than a lawyer, And that's not, I don't mean to say that in a negative aspect, but when you absorb a lot of information.
Let's just talk about this.
Yeah.
A lot of paralegals know a lot more than lawyers.
But because we absorb a lot of information and we regurgitate it to the lawyers so that they can do their tasks faster, right? They don't have the time to do what we do. That's the position you play. So I didn't want to continue to keep playing that position and not getting the accolades or the income for that. That's an example of a drive for me.
Well, and I can also relate because my previous life was as a paralegal. And when you are a paralegal and you're in the law firm, and if you're in large firms, there are attorneys you work with and you wonder how they got there. You work with, there's phenomenal attorneys that you work with, but that also, it means it creates something that's reachable, right? When you're in that environment and you're working with attorneys for so many years.
Correct. And to add to that, there's also a component where paralegals we do reach a limit. And in order for me to get to that next level, the only other option was for me to become a lawyer. Like we extend, like I said, we touch every area of law, but for me to get a little bit further, to be in front of a judge, to argue a hearing, to sit in front of a jury and, convince them that a corporation is bad, I can't do that with a paralegal hat on. Mm-hmm. So in order for me to get to that next level, I had to become a lawyer.
Well, and now let's talk about the transition. Working as an attorney, just tell us what that looks like.
So, I'm going to say I'm probably going to have to come back for part 2 because because this is still new and it's still developing. What I can say so far is I have great people in my life who have been lawyers and they know the ropes, and I have been blessed enough to be able to be mentored by them. So I'm still in that mentoring phase. I will say that it's a greater responsibility. The transition is totally different. One thing that I have somewhat struggle with is understanding that the things that I did as a paralegal can't really shouldn't be doing those anymore. Now it's on to the next level as a lawyer. The transition has been interesting because I'm still in a transition. Every day I'm learning new stuff. Every day I feel like I pick up something that I didn't even think that was possible. So I don't know if I would say that the transition is going to come to an end. I feel like that's going to be something that's ongoing because
it is.
You are going to always learn more stuff as a lawyer.
Well, and I think coming into it with all your paralegal experiences, as opposed to just coming straight out of law school, all that frame of reference that you're drawing from, in one sense, it helps you, but then in another, like you said, you're not working as a paralegal. You've got to learn what it takes to function as an attorney.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because that is true. I do strongly feel like my background as a paralegal has absolutely helped me 100%. I know a lot more than some baby lawyers that come out of law school who've never done any type of legal work other than maybe clerking. My experience as a paralegal in the trial area also helps a lot. So I can stand on that and say, yeah, that's a plus. That part is a plus. And I appreciate that because I don't think that I would be as comfortable as I am now had I not had that experience. So yeah, that is true, Lisa.
Well, talk to us a little bit about, how you first decided. You said you wanted to be a lawyer for as long as you can remember. What happened? What inspired you
the story behind
to
that.
go into law?
That's a lofty dream.
Yeah.
Okay. This is going to sound so corny.
No, share.
I'm from Louisiana. And one thing that my grandmother would do a lot was watch Perry Mason. So I grew up watching Perry Mason at a very early age. Like I was very little. No, seriously. And I thought, man, this is so cool. I mean, I knew it was a TV show. And so I was like, I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to have a booming voice and get bad people and catch them up in, lies and, not really understanding the ramifications of that or how wide that net, is when it comes to being a lawyer. And then there are things that I saw as I got older, being an African-American woman in the South, things that I felt were necessary for me to be a voice for my community. Mm-hmm. So you put those two things together, and that just kind of stuck in the back of my head. I knew that this is what I wanted to do.
This is your journey.
Yeah. Absolutely, 100%.
Well, but how did you do it all? So you had a path that you were put on, and I assume that you worked while you went to law school and worked while you studied. And how did you do that?
I did. So I worked full time, and I went to night school at El Centro. They had a paralegal program. I searched far and wide for one, and it just so happened that El Centro had one. They had night classes and online classes, and so I worked in the daytime, and then I went to school at night. And then once I did that, I was actually already working at Waters and Krause, and then I kind of started talking to lawyers there about me going to paralegal school. And then they were like, okay, because first, let me back up a little bit. Before I became a full-fledged paralegal, I ran the bankruptcy department because I had a banking background. Mm-hmm. And once I started doing bankruptcy, I was like, yeah, this is kind of boring a little. And no shade to the bankruptcy world, because, I know it's necessary.
To each their own.
Right. But for me, I was like, nope, this is not spicy enough for me. I need something else. And so I started networking with the lawyers that were there and letting them know, hey, I'm in paralegal school. I'm getting my associates. I'm also getting a certificate. I'm doing mediation, all of these things. And they were like, okay. And so I started advancing in the firm. And then after I got my paralegal certificate, I was a paralegal by that time. Mm-hmm. But I continued to work and also go to school. From there, I picked up a bachelor's degree. And then I got a master's degree in legal informatics way before we had, Westlaw, LexisNexis, when you would go to the law library and pull, right?
I remember.
So I was a part of a master's program at UNT that wrote Boolean language for all of the databases that we have now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I
did not know that about you.
So yes. Uh-huh.
Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm. So I was like part of the first groups that put stuff together and test stuff for Westlaw, LexisNexis, like all these databases that we have now, in creating Boolean language that would pick up stuff the same thing that where you would pull if you need to shepherdize, stuff like that. So with that background and then my paralegal certificate, I was like, okay, this is great. And I continued to grow at the firm that I was at. I continued to work. And eventually I was like, okay, I need to go to law school. And then I started studying for the LSAT. Once again, worked full time, went to LSAT courses at SMU at night. And that kind of became my norm for a while. I actually thought that I was going to work once I entered law school. No. Didn't do that. And I was grateful for that because I had worked the whole entire time. Mm-hmm. And then once I got into law school, I realized, no, you don't need to work.
So you didn't work while you were in law school?
I did not. I clerked. I did clerk in the summertime, and I did clerk my third year during law school, but that's because the load was so much more lighter the third year. Mm-hmm. But the first and second year, as you know, is kind of like hell on wheels. So I was a fortunate student that didn't have to work, but I had worked, all those years, and I was like, I like this a little bit, Yeah.
So focus on that.
I did, and I'm grateful for that because that first year was not easy at all. Yeah. So.
Well, good for you. And then studying for the bar, were you working while you were studying for the bar? Or did you take off all through that? Or?
I did work when I studied for the bar, but I took the bar more than once. Let me be clear about that. I worked, when I first graduated law school, I did work and study for the bar. It wasn't until afterwards that I was fortunate enough to not work the first 2 months to take the bar exam.
Yeah.
But I did work the first time around. Yeah.
That's hard.
It's so hard. God, it's so hard to keep up. You have to have a really good schedule, and you got to follow that schedule because if you don't and you fall behind,
There's no catching up.
Oh my goodness, there is no catching up.
And what was your support system through all that? Like who was like helping build you up?
Yeah, you can do this.
Yeah.
Right.
My friends and family, like they were there every step of the way. Even when I took the bar the first time and failed, they were there with baskets and like, get up, no time to cry. Let's do it again. Yeah. Are you ready? So friends and family. And I do think it's important to have a good support system, because if you don't have that, it could possibly add to a dream killer in my opinion, a little bit.
Yeah.
You need support.
Yeah.
Even
support.
if you feel
need
like
buy-in from everybody to help support you, especially during the rough times.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you're really goal-oriented and goal-driven, because it was like over a year ago. Actually, it was shortly after you passed the bar.
Yeah.
We all did lunch, and
Yeah.
I gave you a planner and Monica a planner.
Yes.
And we
Beautiful
talked
planner.
about goals, and you really write everything down and you see it through. So are you still doing that? What do your goals look like today?
I still do write everything down. If I do not write everything down, I feel like I'm a disaster. It helps my day flow. It helps my life flow, actually. I would say that. Goals. My goals are to bridge a gap between the African American community, because I feel like sometimes with all the years that I've had in this field, I feel like there's so much more to tap into within that community that kind of gets left behind. And I think that the reason that happens is because there's not enough force to connect that community. And when I say that, I mean, like, say that you may have like a large or mid-sized firm, and where I'm from, it's a small town in Louisiana. Everybody knows everybody. They play golf with one another. And so they don't have a lot of opportunity or reach to the bigger firms that may be financially stable to hold a case against J&J with big bad experts, because they don't have the funds to do that. So my goal is to bridge those type of gaps and connect those communities to say, hey, I know you're used to things being this way, but guess what? Here's a fantastic firm that you may not be familiar with, but they're great. You don't have to take what's given to you in that sense. I want to be a connector for that. And of course, be a great trial lawyer.
Do you want to be a trial lawyer? Is that what you want to do? You want to get up there and...
I don't necessarily have to be on the front. Mm-hmm. I can work in the back, because I like to see, I don't know, I'm just a grind person.
We just talked to Rachel, and she said it's a team thing. Nobody in the back, nobody in the front. It's a team thing.
Yeah, I'm okay. I don't mind being in the back, because like I did my first trial in Pittsburgh, and I was part of the jury selection, which was great. Fantastic. Like, I loved being nosy and getting to people's business and see if they're great to see if they're a good fit. But I want to be I want to be a great trial lawyer. I want to see it all the way through. I don't necessarily have to be in the front. Like I said, I'm the researcher. I'm the one that's, kind of standing on the corner looking and making sure juries aren't, that type of stuff. So yeah, that's my goal.
Well, good for you.
Now.
Well, how does it feel? So, I remember when I passed the bar. I remember exactly where I was standing. I remember what the lighting was like. I remember looking at my husband and talking to him. I remember who I called. I called my partner, Curtis Kleinsmith, here to tell him I'd, passed. How does it feel now that you are on that other side?
Man, it's undescribable. It felt so great, because I appreciated it so much, because I knew what it felt like to lose and not pass, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So I knew what it felt like to win. And it was just an overwhelming feeling for me. I felt like there was nothing that probably could knock me off my rocker for months. Like, I didn't care. A building could have been crashing and it would not have mattered to me. It's like, yeah, whatever, it's an overwhelming feeling. But the reality set in, and I was like, okay, the responsibility.
So now
what are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you've got a plan.
Yeah. Trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds
I
like
do.
a good
I do.
plan.
Well,
Yeah.
Megan, like, I am so proud of you.
Thank you.
know, just watching you, being by your side. I know I wasn't there in Louisiana with you when you're going to law school, but you came back to Texas, and you just always been so open and so deserving.
Thank you so much, Lisa.
I really wanted to get you on here for the paralegal component because I'm a former paralegal, and just that the opportunities are abound. So thank you for sharing your story. Can't wait to hear more as it goes. And if anyone has any comments, questions, send it to hello@ladiesinlaw.com. Comment below. We can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Yeah. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of Ladies in Law. We hope you're walking away inspired and ready to shake things up in law and business. Don't forget to hit subscribe and let us know what you think. Spread the word and share this podcast with your network. Follow us on socials for all the behind-the-scenes fun and sneak peeks of upcoming episodes. Until next time, keep rocking it, keep breaking the mold, and as always, keep aspiring to inspire.